I thought what we might do is we might start the show tonight looking at the one news story. It's always a bit of a strange thing when you kind of look at the story that you're in, but it sort of sets up the whole capital gains tax. Now, you did promise you were going to come and talk to us about it first. I'm a bit disappointed that they've been talking about it all day. Even bloody Bomber got in ahead of us. I thought you were just on there. Sheesh. I feel like we're at the bottom of the list. That's not really fair. Anyway, just kidding. Let's jump into this one news story and have a look at the announcement. And then we want to break it down a bit with you and actually find out the whole skinny. So let's have a look. Here's one news tonight and the announcement around the capital gains tax. It has been announced today.
Roughly a year out from the election, Labor's made the big move of announcing a targeted capital gains tax policy to help fund free doctors' visits. The 28% tax will apply to the profit made when a commercial or residential property is sold. The family home, farms, KiwiSaver, shares, business assets, inheritances, and personal items like cars, boats, art, and furniture will all be exempt. The tax will only apply to gains made after the 1st of July.
Before we go, what is it? 90% of New Zealanders it won't impact? What's the number?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 New Zealanders.
So this is going to impact 1 out of 10 New Zealanders, while National is going to spend the next 12 months saying it's going to impact 9 out of 10 New Zealanders. That's going to be their tactic, but that's the opposite, yeah?
Oh, it started today. The lies started today, and exactly that introduction, which showed everything that is exempt. Nicola said, "Oh, this impacts KiwiSaver. This impacts small business." So,
all right, we'll keep going on the story.
July 2027. Any gains achieved before that date will not be taxed. Labor plans to use the money it raises to pay for 3 free doctors' visits a year. So, how will it affect you and business owners? We begin with political editor Mikey Sherman.
After months, if not years, of waiting since the last election, Labor has finally...
Obviously, we've heard that this was leaked, so you had to jump to it quite quickly. Was that a genuine smile going up the corridor? Or you're like, yay, finally? Or you're like, ah, shit, I knew it could have been on the right day?
No, I was saying to Chewie, you fellas walk fast. Like, actually...
All right, we'll keep going. We do want to talk about that as well, the leak, but that's not the main focus tonight.
Labor has finally re-entered the tax debate.
We opted for a capital gains tax because it's a simple change. It brings us into line with so many other countries around the world.
But the tussle over tax here has been anything but simple.
The Australians made this decision back in the 1980s. It is time for New Zealand to take that step.
This is one advantage that we have over our Aussie cousins. Let's hold on to it.
Here's how it works. An investment property purchased for $900,000 from July 2027 later sells for $1 million. The profit, $100,000, would be taxed at 28%.
And just for clarity, because there is a slight discrepancy, the valuation on 1 July 2027, will that come from council valuation?
So the tax working group has a whole chapter on this, and you can you can elect the different valuations. So it could be QV, could be your own personal market, QV, it could be RV. You may choose the default rate. So there's an election process that the taxpayer would have to go through.
Okay, and QV is because QV basically do value every house. You just got to pay to get it. There'll be some kind of way you'll be able to get that QV data to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the choice for people, right? They might want a higher valuation, so they pay less tax. So if they want to do that, then all the most accurate, then they would apply for a QV market value.
Because there is always that thing that RV is, or is that the council valuation, whichever it is, tends to be a bit under. I mean, not many houses in New Zealand sell for what the council says it's worth. So, you know, if the council says it's worth 500, but really it's worth 700, and you sell it for 900, then you're going to be paying it on 400 rather than the 200 of actual value. So there's a way they've thought of a way around that already. I mean, I say around that, I just mean of being fair, a way of that being fair already.
Well, I mean, unless you're Christopher Luxon, right? And you bring your value down.
Very good. All right, let's keep going.
Meaning a tax revenue for the government of $28,000.
I'm saying to those mum and dad investors, do you want your kids to be able to buy their own home?
What if you're a family who needs to...
Can I just say I've seen this? This is the stupidest example of stupid examples anyone has ever offered as a rebuttal. Because she basically says, what about this? And the answer is, yeah, that's exactly how it works. If you haven't seen it, Whānau, it's ridiculous what Nicola Willis says here.
Their own home.
What if you're a family who needs to move into a bigger home because you're expanding your family and you want to keep your old property and rent it out to
Oh, so that would be become an investment property. So you're going to keep the old place buying, and so that becomes the investment property. Is that what you mean, Nicola? So now, before you didn't have an investment property when you lived there, and now you've got two properties and one of them's an investment property. Yeah, imagine what would you do there?
Rent it out to tenants. Well, you'll be hit with a capital gains tax.
Yes. So we're using the same bright line rules which John Key brought in with the same exemptions.
Every dollar raised from the tax will be ring-fenced for health, Labor offering 3 free GP visits a year.
With this new Medicard,
did he realise he was holding it upside down? Has he had a crack so far? Just checking.
Patients and families will save money
It's P. I'm just trying to spell it. It's spelled PRA. I don't know what that letter is. IPEW. It's the Predapew card. Very good.
in doctors' fees under a Labor government.
The policy won't be means tested, meaning everyone gets it.
Free GP visits all the time would be good. Yeah.
Capital gains tax, not required.
Not required?
No. I'm for it. Yeah.
For it?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on capital gains?
Oh, I like capital gains tax around here.
Labor says it allows an extra 4.5 million GP visits a year on current numbers.
We don't have enough workforce. We've had issues with funding. We've had issues with sustainability. Those things need to be worked at in parallel with a policy like this.
And you're confident that's not going to overwhelm the system?
That's right, and we're backing general practice with with other investments.
Labor planned to make its big announcement later in the week.
This is the cuts at TVNZ, Chewie. This is their CG overlay now. It's just a dude holding the thing at the front like this to get it in shot.
Later in the week, but a leak to media meant a rushed release today.
If it transpires that it was deliberately released by somebody and that we find out who that person is, they won't be a member of the Labor Party anymore.
Are you looking for who that is?
No.
Are you scared of what you might find if you do investigate, or are you simply not interested?
I've been around politics a long time, and I know that sometimes things make their way out into the public domain before you are expecting, and it's how you respond to that that really matters.
Hipkins' message to his caucus: get on board or get out now.
All right. Now, we're going to leave it there because we've only got you for another 10 minutes from here to get through this. So, why not farms? Why not farms? Because farms are people's residence as well as workplaces. Why? What's the rationale behind that?
So we're trying to make sure that Kiwis still invest in the productive economy.
Oh, speak to me.
Can you hear me?
Yep, got you now. Sorry, go for it.
So we're still trying to ensure that people invest in the productive economy. So the way the bright line test is, it does exempt farms, and we've just continued that same exemption.
Okay. Also, when I was hearing it, I was thinking about the 3 GP visits, ring fence for that. How did you come to that decision?
Well, ultimately, we need to make sure that, you know, when people ask us, well, if you're going to tax us more, we want to know what you're going to spend it on. And clearly comes through so strongly over the last year. People are really concerned about the health system. Even more so, we've been asking people to tell us your stories around, you know, your GP visits and how much you're paying for them. Some of the stories are horrifying. So ultimately for us, we believe that, you know, and Aisha used that today in her stand-up. You know, she used the survey which said for every dollar you spend in primary healthcare, you save $10 in the tertiary healthcare system, so in hospitals, etc. So get them at the preventative stage as opposed to waiting till the condition gets so bad that they need to be hospitalised, because that costs New Zealand and costs the economy more.
We all know, I think that's a much better result for people to get to the doctor before they have to get to the A&E room. It does obviously mean more traffic to the doctors, though, which I think they were talking about in the story. It does mean that we have anecdotal stories at the moment of people having to wait 2 weeks to get to their doctor. How do we address the already apparent doctor shortage with people now, thankfully, having easier, well, not now, but if it passes, easier access to get to their GP?
Yeah, so Aisha, what was cut out of the story was she had actually not just announced the new Medicard with the free visits. She also went through a couple of initiatives that she had been working with general practice representatives, which would actually help them free up some capacity. So, for example, the government just today actually talked about AI scribe for emergency. While we're saying, well, you need AI scribe for general practice as well. There's facilities grants to help general practitioners grow the space that they have so they can have actually more visits. And so she's talked about the workforce, nurse practitioners, the ability for us around, graduate doctors being able to support them into getting into their first practices. So there was a whole list of different policies that she'd put out as part of this as well.
Chewie, you're okay there with your connection? You're a bit jumpy on my end. You got a question you want to get in about this?
Yeah, and then I'm going to go and restart my router because something's fucky. The big question I have is why a capital gains tax instead of like a land value tax? What was the decision-making process there?
I mean, ultimately, when I looked at different jurisdictions and the type of different taxes they had, also this is the mandate that was given to us by the party, was to look at either a wealth tax or a capital gains tax. When you look at different jurisdictions and how they apply it, most jurisdictions have a capital gains tax. They just tax it on different things. They have de minimis discounts. So we went with the capital gains tax and specifically a targeted one for property and commercial and residential, because we knew that this was simple. We knew it would shift investment from the property market into the productive economy, and that would help level some of the playing field for businesses and create jobs. Because if you look at what our current economy is made of, it's made of primary industry and a property market. We need to shift that in order to deal with our low productivity.
The other question I have is with the 3 GP visits, is that legitimately just per person you have 3? Because I think of myself, who has probably been to sort of like seen a doctor 3 times over the space of 8 years. And I know there's a lot of people that have worse health than I or a higher need than I. They're still going to get 3 and I'm going to waste 3. Is that something that's been considered?
Well, it's not wasted, because the way that the current funding of GP practices is that capitation funding, which is why also the announcement she made last week around that independent pricing authority is really important too. But ultimately, we went with the 3 frees because we had worked out basically with working with GPs, like what's the amount that we could allow for, both fiscally, allow for that would actually make a meaningful difference. And this is where we've landed. We also used the health survey data as well.
I just want to play you another piece of audio from, and it speaks to the wealth tax question from 3 News. Nicola Willis comments, followed by Chloe Swarbrick. Chloe Swarbrick obviously is going to be someone who you would be in government with. No one thinks that there'll be another majority government anytime soon. So let's have a listen to what Chloe had to say and get you respond to that.
Today, they've just opened the door. And we know the door will open wider and wider in a Labour to Party Māori Greens coalition.
And that's exactly what Green Party co-leader Chloe Swarbrick, who was peering over the balcony, wants. A wealth tax.
To tax wealth, the wealthiest 3% in this country, which means that we can have free GP visits for all, free dentistry, free early childhood education, distributed, renewable, affordable electricity. We can protect our environment.
And in my professional opinion, a wealth tax would not be able to work unless our closest economic partner, which is Australia, moves to a wealth tax.
And that's because they call it millionaire migration or that flight, which they talk about a lot in the UK. But Craig Rennie actually did a really good podcast saying how it's a bit of a non-event because they got to run away to places that also sort of have that. So is that the main reason? It's like the millionaire migration. Is that really like when we talked? You know that I won't say us being the show, but I was like a wealth tax feels so much harder to do because it's every year and then if you haven't got the money to pay it, it's a lien against your property. And then at the end of your life, maybe there's nothing left of your property. You owe the whole property in wealth tax. And so it felt a bit clunkier rather than selling it, take that bit off, there it's done. Just any more clarity on the wealth tax versus CGT?
Yeah, it's a tax on unrealized gains, right? So you got to have the cash flow in order to pay for that. So that's ultimately what you've just said. But also, the fact is, most OECD jurisdictions, except for 3, don't have a CGT. There are only 6 jurisdictions across the world that have a wealth tax. Most had them in the early 1900s, and most countries got rid of them because basically it got to the point where it was more expensive to enforce it than it was to actually the money that was coming in. So that's why I say, in my professional opinion, it wouldn't work. And it's, you know, Chloe can say you can pay for this, you can pay for that, you can pay for this with a wealth tax, but the wealth tax has to work in order to have the money to pay for that. So again, I mean, I've been in tax for over a decade now. I think 16 years. I was counting earlier today. So it has to work, and that's why we wanted the simple and targeted policy with the CGT.
Hey, thank you for your time. Last question. You're going to have some people who are going to be like, yep, we need this straight away. This is the idea. Bring it in, get it going sooner, you know, make it 40%, get it going. And then you're going to have the other end of the spectrum driving pink cars through Epsom that goes, no one wants a capital gains tax around here. He might be right, actually. Maybe no one in Epsom does want one. That's another conversation. But then you're going to have this group in the middle that go, I've got this rental property, and using the example TVNZ just say, if I make 100K on it, I'm now, and this is how they'll think, I'm now losing $28,000. That's a big chunk out of that $100,000. For the people who are more like, oh, you know, this is not a slam dunk. I want it. I don't hate this. How do you bring them on board and speak to them about what this is going to add to the economy as Labor sees it?
So obviously the health benefits of being able to have greater access to healthcare, right? That's what Medicard is. But ultimately, it always goes back to $1 earned is $1 earned, whether you've earned it through, you know, selling off a property like Christopher Luxon has, or selling off your 3rd, 4th, 5th one. Or, you know, you think about the salary and wage earner, you know, the taxi driver, the teacher, the police officer, every dollar that they earn through their wages is taxed. And so we're just asking that, you know what, we want to even that playing field for wage and salary earners, for businesses. And we're saying this is part of it. And also the Bright Line test brought in these rules in the first place. So we're just basically saying we want to have an economy. We want people to invest in a more productive side of it. So we're saying we're trying to even that playing field.
Hey, sorry, just one more question, super quick, because I just thought about, you know, a business makes a profit, they pay tax on that profit. But then if a business makes a loss, they claim it back. Should the event happen that a house sells for less than what it was, in other words, if that $500,000 house then sells for $450,000, so they've lost $50,000, do they get to claim that back?
Well, first of all, they don't pay tax. And second of all, they get to claim those losses, ring fence those losses against any future capital gains tax imposts.
Okay. All right. So the next house goes up by 100K. They've lost 50K. They've got a 50K credit against the appreciation on the next house. Cool.
Yes.
Hey, Barb, thank you so much for giving us some time. Look at that, just on 9:20, like we said. Thank you so much for coming in. Apologies to the whānau for not asking questions. We had Barb for a very short amount of time. Go and enjoy your Malaysian. Is that what it is tonight? You've had a long day, and thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Ka kite. Thanks, team.
All right, dude. All the best.
Cheers, Bob.